They said Tesla was untouchable, that a company backed by billions, headlines, and Elon Musk himself would never face this kind of public shutdown. But what if I told you Canada just slammed the brakes on Tesla's golden ticket, its access to EV incentives, over serious allegations of manipulation? And that's not even the wildest part. This isn't just about rebates. It's about power, retaliation, and a brewing economic war that's dragging private companies into the spotlight. The ripple effects are already shaking stock markets, fueling protests, and exposing the hidden costs of being too big, too bold, and too fast. You're about to discover the real reason behind Tesla's ban. And once you do, you'll never look at global business the same way again. When a government presses pause on payouts worth millions, you know something serious is brewing. That's exactly what happened when Canada froze all EV incentives linked to Tesla, igniting a storm across the auto industry. Why? Well, Transport Canada wasn't buying the surge in rebate claims. It smelled manipulation. Suddenly, every single application from Tesla had to be rechecked, one by one. And just like that, what looked like a clean win for Tesla turned into a bureaucratic minefield. It's like watching a magician get caught mid-trick. The illusion breaks. Tesla, once a darling of green initiatives, is now facing the cold shoulder from one of its key allies. And let's be honest, this isn't just about rebates. It's about control, power, and calling out the game beneath the surface. The moment Canada stepped back, it forced the world to lean in. Why now? Why Tesla? Something deeper is happening. If you value uncovering truths that most people overlook, subscribe and stay connected, because this is just the beginning. Here's the thing. Trade wars don't start with bullets. They start with numbers, policies, and decisions that quietly reshape entire industries. And that's exactly what's unfolding between the US and Canada. After Trump slapped on those aggressive tariffs, Canada wasn't about to just sit back and smile. Instead, it pulled the plug on Tesla's sweet deal with the EV incentives, and the message was loud and clear. You hit us, we hit back. It was chess, not checkers, and Tesla got caught between kings. Tesla, of course, wasn't the direct enemy, but became collateral damage. Suddenly, Elon Musk's billion-dollar baby found itself standing at the center of a political storm. This isn't just an economic scuffle. It's a power play with global consequences. And what's even more fascinating, when governments use private companies as leverage, the ripple effect is massive. Just imagine what happens next when markets react and billions are on the line. Markets have no patience for uncertainty, and when Canada slammed the brakes on Tesla's EV incentives, Wall Street flinched. Tesla's stock decline of 5.6% wasn't just a number, it was a signal. Investors saw a domino ready to tip, especially with the growing noise around trade wars and shifting global policies. A company once seen as untouchable suddenly looked vulnerable, and the stock charts reflected that fear. But here's where it gets really interesting. Stock declines aren't always about performance. Sometimes they're about perception. And when perception shifts, especially in the case of a figure like Elon Musk, it sends shockwaves. The market wasn't reacting to sales alone. It was reacting to the bigger picture: diplomatic tension, economic power plays, and the question that kept investors up at night. How far could this go? If you've made it this far, it means you value real insights. Go ahead and subscribe. This type of breakdown doesn't show up in the mainstream. Markets have no patience for uncertainty. And when Canada slammed the brakes on Tesla's EV incentives, Wall Street flinched. Tesla's stock decline of 5.6% wasn't just a number, it was a signal. Investors saw a domino ready to tip, especially with the growing noise around trade wars and shifting global policies. A company once seen as untouchable suddenly looked vulnerable, and the stock charts reflected that fear. But here's where it gets really interesting. Stock declines aren't always about performance. Sometimes they're about perception. And when perception shifts, especially in the case of a figure like Elon Musk, it sends shockwaves. The market wasn't reacting to sales alone. It was reacting to the bigger picture: diplomatic tension, economic power plays, and the question that kept investors up at night. How far could this go? If you've made it this far, it means you value real insights. Go ahead and subscribe. This type of breakdown doesn't show up in the mainstream. Tesla knew how to play the system, and play it well. When Canada rolled out generous EV incentives, Tesla didn't waste time. They ramped up applications, adjusted pricing models, and triggered a sudden spike in sales that looked almost too good to be true. It was brilliant from a business standpoint, but governments don't always appreciate cleverness when it costs them millions. Regulators began to suspect that something was off. Strategic pricing, massive weekend sales, the dots weren't connecting. The word manipulation started echoing in government halls, and suddenly Tesla's success became its liability. It's a wild reminder that innovation can toe the line between genius and controversy. In the world of tariffs and global politics, that line gets blurry fast. This isn't just about Canada. Tesla's situation taps into something far bigger, the fragile web of global trade. With tariffs flying between the US, China, and the EU, Tesla became the poster child of what happens when business meets politics. Every new regulation, every shift in policy, Tesla felt it in real time. And so did investors watching the drama unfold. The trade war backdrop turned Tesla into a global case study. Suddenly, it wasn't just about selling EVs. It was about surviving in a world where supply chains stretch across borders and politics seep into profit margins. The question now isn't just what's next for Tesla. It's what does this mean for the future of global business? Now, let's talk numbers because they matter. Tesla reportedly moved over 8,700 vehicles in a single weekend from just 4 dealerships in Canada. That's one car every 30 seconds. Impressive? Absolutely. Believable? That's what raised eyebrows. To many, it felt like Tesla was turbocharging the sales engine just to squeeze out every last drop of incentive cash. Critics argued the surge was artificial, a strategic push to secure as many EV incentives as possible before the well ran dry. Government officials didn't like what they saw. An investigation was launched, payments were suspended, and once again, Tesla was in the hot seat. It wasn't just a business decision. It became a political flashpoint. You can't talk Tesla without talking Elon Musk. He's not just a CEO, he's a brand, a political force, and a magnet for controversy. Musk's vocal support for Trump and alignment with far-right parties in Europe triggered backlash across multiple regions. What was once eccentric genius started to look like political liability. That's when things escalated. Protesters vandalized Tesla dealerships in Canada. Politicians used Tesla as a talking point, and public sentiment started to shift. Musk's influence, once a superpower, began cutting both ways. The message was clear. When business leaders dive into politics, the splash reaches every corner of the market. Across the Atlantic, the Tesla glow dimmed fast. In early 2025, European EV registrations for Tesla plummeted by over 47%. A brand that once dominated was now losing ground to aggressive Chinese EV makers and revitalized European automakers. The reasons? Pricing, politics, and a shifting consumer mindset. Regulations got tighter, tariffs loomed, and Musk's political antics didn't play well with European audiences. Combine that with Tesla's lack of new models and rising competition, and the result was predictable: market share collapse. And just when it seemed Tesla had mastered global dominance, Europe served a cold, hard reality check. Let's zoom out. When Trump announced a 25% tariff on imported vehicles, he claimed it was to protect American jobs. But for companies like Tesla, Ford, and GM, who rely on global supply chains, it was like handing them a hammer and asking them to build with half their tools. Costs rose, uncertainty followed, and the ripple effect was immediate. The problem is, tariffs aren't surgical, they're sledgehammers. And when you hit the auto industry with one, it affects every nut, bolt, and boardroom decision. For Tesla, it meant juggling politics, pricing, and public image all at once. And for the market, it meant watching a delicate ecosystem shake under pressure. So now Tesla stands at a fork in the road. It can lower prices to fight off cheap Chinese EVs or double down on premium branding to hold its status. Either choice carries risk. One could dent profitability, the other could shrink market share. It's a high-stakes game, and Musk knows it. What happens next will define more than Tesla's future. It'll show how a modern company navigates trade wars, political landmines, and market revolutions all at once. And with the world watching, every move matters. Because in today's economy, strategy isn't just smart, it's survival. Now you know what most people don't. You've just uncovered the real story behind Tesla's ban in Canada, and why a mix of politics, strategy, and timing turned one of the most powerful companies in the world into a cautionary tale. That's the kind of knowledge that separates casual observers from sharp minds. But let me ask you, How many other stories like this are playing out right now, under the radar? What other companies are being reshaped by trade wars, tariffs, and public sentiment? The truth is, only a select few stay curious enough to follow the patterns, and those are the ones who stay ahead. If you want to keep unlocking the kind of insights that elevate your thinking and put you a step above the crowd, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because knowledge like this, it's just the beginning.